welcome everybody. Welcome to our panel, and hopefully everybody ate a very light lunch so you stay awake, right? Who's awake? Woo! I don't know if I'm supposed to yell on the microphone here. But yeah, we got to get some excitement going on here, because today we are talking retail. What is your consumer experience and what are they really looking for? I think this is a really important topic, and we have some really good industry experts here to talk about their experience from the tech side and also from the operator side. So I'm going to start with my left, and y'all can introduce yourselves and tell us who you are and what you do.
Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Kyle Sherman, the founder and CEO of FlowHub. I started this company way back what's up, Michael Johnson? CEO of Metric over here. He's got some great updates for you. But no, been in the industry for a long time, about 12 years. I started this company 10 years ago. We sell a dispensary growth platform to retailers. We're very focused on retail. That includes point of sale, payments, inventory, compliance. It's a full platform. We've got over 160 apps in our app store, very extensible. And so really excited today to chat about retail. It's something that I'm super passionate about. And I love cannabis, so it's going to be fun today.
John Hartman.
Thanks. Well done, my new friend here, Kyle. So appreciate being here. My name's John Hartman. I'm from and represent Ascend Wellness. We are a 7-state, multi-state operator. I'm the opposite of Kyle. I've only been in the cannabis industry for 1 year, and I come from mostly traditional retail. So very excited to talk about retail today and the passion of which we bring the service to our patients and our customers.
Ankur.
Hi everybody, I'm Ankur Rungta. I'm the CEO of C3 Industries. We're a multi-state operator based in Michigan. We operate 25 stores today across Michigan, Massachusetts, Missouri, Illinois, and New Jersey, and have about 5 or 6 years of experience in the retail space now.
And John.
Hello, John Lowen, co-CEO of Surfside Solutions, Inc. We work with, thanks. We work across the advertising vertical for our cannabis providers in the retail and the brand side with a couple customers up here as well, but 3,000 plus dispensaries, a couple hundred brands, really focusing on customer acquisition and making sure that you use your first-party data for personalized marketing.
Great. So from a customer standpoint, and I think we are all consumer facing in one way or another, I'd like to first focus on operators. So John, I'd like to have you chat first about how do we attract retail consumers and what are they actually looking for?
So the question, how do we attract retail consumers and what are they looking for? That's a big question. I think I'll take a quick bite at both. I think attracting new customers and maintaining our current customers is certainly a big focus for us. Educating customers around the products that we sell, the variety of products that we have on our menu, and sharing with them the opportunities they have with different form factors across that menu is certainly critical. I think the way we serve them, the way we meet their needs in the dispensary is also a critical component of it. And just a couple quick points there. I think that whether they're a medical patient or a recreational patient, our customers are looking for a vast, and for very different reasons, they're looking for variety in the products. And so whether that's the strength of the THC or the terpene component, or whether it's different form factors, I think having a really well-balanced menu that meets the needs of a variety of customers is something we're focused on.
Thank you. And Ankur?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about competitive markets because I think that's where all the interesting stuff is happening. My take right now is that consumers are very, very value focused and are really, what we think a lot about is what is the perceived value from a customer when they're buying something from us. So if they're looking for a value product, are they getting the price that they want? Are they getting the THC or other metrics that they want? If someone's looking for a more high-end branded product, do we have the selection that they're looking for? Again, do we have the price points that they're looking for? To us, it's really about providing the value to the customers. In markets like Michigan that are huge from an overall size standpoint, we're starting to see a massive discrepancy. Even in the same city, one dispensary may be doing 5 times the revenue of another one, and that's because they're really hitting those perceived value points. And so buying the right product, the right products at the right prices, turning around and assorting them correctly, setting up your promo system the right way, and really making it exciting for all different types of consumers. Because I think at the end of the day, as retailers, we want to attract a broad spectrum of customers, but they're looking for very different things. And so how do you try to give each of those customer segments the perceived value that they're looking for? And so I do think it's about pricing, assortment, promo strategy. And then the other piece I would mention is how are you communicating that strategy out to people? If there's too much noise in your messaging, you may have a great offering, but you may not be doing a good job of communicating that to the customer. And they, again, if it's about perceived value, if they're not perceiving the right things from your offering, then they may not understand that they should be shopping with you. So I think having the right assortment, having the right strategy, and then communicating it effectively, those are the critical elements in my mind. And again, I see a customer that's more and more driven by those value considerations over time.
Thank you. And so from a tech standpoint, obviously there's a lot of coordination between operators and the tech and marketing. So Kyle, do you want to chat about that? Thanks.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. Tech is such a behind-the-scenes thing, right? It's pretty easy to forget that tech powers infrastructure. It powers your operations. It powers the day-to-day for your team that's providing the customer service inside of your dispensary. And so tech is really important, right? All the way from the first moment that a consumer walks into your store, they get their ID scanned. That first interaction really matters, right? How fast is that check-in process? I actually was just in Arizona. I've been touring around the country a little bit, visiting dispensaries. I visited about 70 dispensaries there. And I was shocked at the number of dispensaries that had, you know, big retail environment, but it took 10 minutes to check in. They weren't using our software, by the way, but I wanted to see what some of our rivals were doing out there, and it was an incredibly long, high-friction process just to get in the store. Enough that you're like, why would I come back here? This is ridiculous. I just want to buy some gummies. And so, you know, from the check-in process all the way through the experience of interacting with that bud tender, what information does the bud tender have on you as a consumer? Are there recommendations in the app for them so that it helps them provide a better service? You know, some of the things we do at FlowHub as an example is we give the bud tender the ability to see when this person last shopped, what they most often like to buy, how much they're likely to spend in this visit. It's very accurate metrics, but it helps the bud tender understand, hey, you know, I see you really like gummies. In fact, we have a new brand we just got in. You might want to try them, right? Those little things matter. It's much deeper than just a loyalty program, right? That the tech can enable this really incredible consumer experience, and that's what people come back for, right? People come back to great experiences, and so technology can really enable that, and I think it can easily become an afterthought. And so as an operator, you got to really think, what kind of tech am I using today? If you've been on the same platform for a long time, you should probably go see what's out there, because technology moves very quickly. And so just, you know, those elements are so important. And then you got to think about if you're multi-location, like Ascend, right? You might have stores all over the country. So what's the experience for the traveling consumer? Is there loyalty points? Do they carry from one store to the next one? Is that data about what they might like to buy, you know, get carried through the stores? And so all of that matters in that consumer experience. That, you know, why do people enjoy Marriott's or Hilton's, right? It's for the loyalty program, the experience they get when they go. They feel connected to the brand. And so technology is the heart and soul that allow that to happen at scale for these workers who might be minimum wage or low wage on the ground, giving them tools to create that experience, right? And so the technology is so beyond important in the equation in creating great retail experiences in cannabis today.
Yeah, and I hear consistency. You know, so if a customer goes to one store in one state, they have consistent experience from one to the other. They know what to expect. And I also hear efficiency of time. So, Yeah, those are key. John, how about you at Surfside?
Yeah, so I'll kind of bring it back to what Encore was saying around you have all this information about where customers are, what's happening in a competitive market, and for us, we're really focused on using technology to execute on the activation or the communication front. And so if you have all this information and you say, hey, I know that I am trying to reach XYZ segment. I know that maybe I'm underperforming in a certain zip code or a certain area. How do you now then pair and personalize that experience from a pricing, from a promo perspective to the right audiences so that you can connect all those dots and actually see customer acquisition costs go down or see conversions happening online or in store from a sales perspective. And so as a business, we use technology to really focus on getting people in the door so they can have those experiences and enjoy those in-store experiences. But then once they're there, once they're on the e-commerce site or in the store, can we create a consistent experience from the communication? So if we know that these customers love flower, they love pre-roll. When they land on site, we want to show them flower and pre-roll. We want those product listings to show up first. We want those products that they're the most interested in based on maybe previous exposure to different purchases or interest that they've shown from a data perspective, so that we can create this continuous flow of communication and content and have it all dynamically populate based on that user's experience rather than more of a painting with a wider brush. And I think that's really important. And we talk about it like a lot of this stuff exists already, so we're not necessarily reinventing the wheel in cannabis, but I think we can take what's worked in all these other verticals, whether it's CPG, whether it's retail, and start bringing the best in class from those different verticals and apply them to cannabis, which is a very data-rich industry, because you have so much information on the consumer purchase habits from a compliance perspective, and there are a lot of customers there are so many SKUs in store, so there's a lot of desire for the customers to have a more tailored experience rather than kind of having 1,000 SKUs and thumbnails available to them within the shopping experience.
That's great, thank you. And how about different demographics? So Encore, would you like to talk about how do you appeal to different demographics and even different geographical regions?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm of the mindset that every store has its own unique sort of customer base and demographics and purchasing habits. And so I think we're in an industry where it becomes really hard to generalize even across a single state, let alone across your whole business. And so when you're operating a large platform across a lot of markets, you need to really think about what are my key segments that I'm trying to target. Trying to be everything for everyone is really hard in cannabis, and actually I think you end up sort of losing focus when you try to do that. And so what we're seeing, and again, I'll speak to competitive markets, but 80% of our sales come from 20% of our customers. Those customers buy certain products like flower. There are new customers entering the space. There are demographic changes and shifts that are happening, but those happen very slowly. Those secular shifts take time. And so today, what drives the business are those regular, very well-informed cannabis users, and some of them are looking for value and some of them are looking for premium, but we're very much trying to talk to that core customer base. It's not that we're trying to ignore the people on the margins that are coming in, but I think from my standpoint, you have to focus on where the lion's share of your revenue is coming from today. And so again, within these different cohorts and demographics, I go back to my same mantra of perceived value. The sort of newer customer who's more kind of a more infrequent user, they have a perceived value. It may be different than the person who's buying every day and coming into your store, but how do you tailor your offering to those folks? How do you message it to them appropriately? That's really the goal. And I almost think you can't really generalize. I think it has to be very nuanced, very store and demographic specific. And I think the more you try to generalize in this space, the more you're going to struggle from a performance standpoint.
I want to add to this because I've seen it with our customer base. It's a great point. You could open up 5, 6 stores in a state and quickly figure out that, hey, this particular location is a blue collar location, and these folks are coming in every time they get their paycheck, and that's kind of the standard there. And so we've got to be a value store. And I've seen this play out, and it's like you just see the revenue increase dramatically when you know the demographic that your store is serving. and you know is there. So I just want to agree with you. It's such a great point.
If you're trying to sell people something they don't want, then it's not going to go so well.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Right. You're trying to fit the wrong peg in the wrong hole.
And how about John?
Yeah, happy to add to both of those thoughts. I think, without generalizing, I think beyond the value equation that Encore's referring to, I think about customers in three larger buckets. One is the very experienced customer, and typically, Kyle used the word friction. I'll borrow that and use the word frictionless. They're looking for that fast in, fast out. They know exactly what they want. 85% of our transactions involve technology. Either a pre-order or a kiosk in the store. So those super premium customers, they know what they want. They want to get in and get out quickly, and then they're on and happy. There's also a couple of other categories that we pay attention to. One is the person that enjoys the community of actually being in the dispensary, and it's a person that actually might come in, engage in some conversation. They know what they want. They're still a regular consumer. They're still a part of our loyalty program. They're still very involved in as cannabis as part of their life, and that's another segment that we want to pay attention to when we're talking about the experience. And then the third one is the new person to cannabis. And that is someone that really wants to learn, and they've never used a kiosk before, and they could be one of those. They could very soon be one of those customers that are at the top of the rack, representing 80% of your sales, but they need some education and some time and some hand-holding. So that takes a bit of a different type of experience when those customers first come in the store.
Yeah, I would just add one other way to think about things is your e-com customer. So in our business now, we're about 40% e-com, 60% in store. So when I say e-com, I mean order ahead on our website. What we found, and this is true of all retail, and John can speak to this more than I can, but your e-com customer may have very different habits and things that they're looking for than your in-store customer. And I think we're just at the tip of the iceberg in terms of cannabis retailers trying to create differentiated offerings for their e-com customer versus their in-store. I mean, if you look at traditional retail, if you go to the Gap physical store, they may have different stuff than the Gap online store, right? And so how do we start to think about that? John Lowen can speak to how that web-generated traffic is sort of behaving and what their kind of critical points are. But I think that's we're going to see more e-com usage. And how do we cater our business also to those customers? Because I think historically we've been really focused on the in-store experience, but that's shifting away into other directions now.
Go ahead, John. How do you bridge the gap between online and the in-person retail experience?
Yeah, so I won't get into the technical aspect of it, but to your point, like when you're shopping online, you're going to see all the intent, and so you're going to see what products people are viewing, what items they're adding to their cart, what are they taking out of their cart. So you get a multiple of information versus what you're going to get from your point of sale. And so the point of sale, you're just seeing the actual sale and the conversion event, and you're seeing what they check out with. But online, you get to see everything else that they were looking at. Taking it like a step further, when you look at, I kind of correlate it to now, what do we want to stock in store? What are the products that are selling well? What are when you tie it back to like the demographic, the original question you're talking about, what products are working with different demographics, and so that helps with like product development and the inventory you want to stock in store as well. But like from a technology perspective, being able to connect those two, for one of the things we always talk about a lot with our retailers is, as soon as you are checking someone out, you should say, hey, what's your email? Because I'll email you your receipt. When I go to any retailer store, I'm without question always providing my email, whether they're emailing me the receipt or they want to track if I'm an existing customer. I think that's a big area in the customer experience perspective that is really lacking in the dispensary space, because we see it firsthand. We just don't have enough customer data being captured at the point of sale, whether it's a phone number or whether it's an email, because our ability now to understand if this person comes back a week later, what are they purchasing, creating that history, that lifetime value, being able to bridge the gap between the online and the offline activity. Those type of, like an email and a phone number, is two specific identifiers that help with that technology gap. So that's a key component. If there's one takeaway, make sure all of your bud tenders are getting an email or a phone number. And then there's a lot of other stuff that we could talk about around like what I think should be happening in like digital merchandising and how we should be presenting stronger product pages and more akin to like what you see in a Walmart or an Amazon as far as like the ability to talk about the differentiation of these products so customers have like a better idea of what they're buying and more education as well. Because I think that will help those customers who don't know what they're doing and are in the 20% right now.
Yeah, I would just add, I think that a lot of customers are dealing with information overload, particularly in the really competitive open markets. They're getting bombarded with advertisements. If you walk into a store, they're being handed a deal sheet that might have 100 deals. What's that?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's this guy's fault. But no, if they walk into a store, they're being handed a deal sheet or on a TV screen that has 100 deals on it that's impossible for them to quickly process. So I think how you communicate and trying to declutter that information, provide the education, to John's point, to the newer customers, that's how you cut through the noise. And people are looking for guidance, I think. That's what we see. Even experienced consumers are still dealing with a lot of noise and trying to figure out what's the best product, what's the best pricing, where am I going to get the best deal? And so communicating that effectively is critical.
Yeah, I think like, look, this is again, technology's at the heartbeat of all this, right? If you want to sync your e-com with your store information, the same consumer data, you want to make sure you're capturing emails on checkout, to John's point, right? You've got to have the right tech stack. Not everyone does this stuff in our space. So if you got to really double check you have the right tech in your store today. I mean, seriously, go take a look at what you have today and make sure you have the right technology, because it deeply matters to the entire experience, from online to in-store, having all of that synced together and then having the right tools to market back to those customers. And so anyway, tech is just so important to all of this.
Definitely. I also want to go into the topic of experience and the Canna Curious. So John, you touched on a really good point there, having an experience. Like people that want to go in, say, for example, Whole Foods, sometimes I'll go in there just to walk around because they have such beautiful products and you just want to feel what's there. And then other times you want to say, whatever, go into a Target, and it's really about efficiency, saving time, you want in and out. How do you get the experience across?
Yeah, I think that as a number of us have mentioned, the experience is different based on what the customer wants, and I think understanding what the customer's wants are first and foremost is the start of how you create a great experience for them. And so, even if the customer, and many of ours have placed an order in advance of coming to the store, how they're greeted and how they're determined and recognized as a customer is probably the first human contact that they have, and it's a very critical one. And then if it's a customer that's in need of rapid in and out, you want to expedite their check-in. Ours is, by the way, in 30 seconds or less. And I think some of our current technology partners are probably squirming a little bit at your advice. But I think that building on that, I think the other part of experience is getting customer feedback. And it's something that we've really spent a lot of time on over the last year is developing and building a better pipeline of feedback from our customers. And there's probably 5 or 6 that I'll just quickly tick off: register receipt survey, kiosk-based survey, email-based survey, surveys to our loyalty customers, bud tender feedback on what the customers are seeing and liking, and then probably something we all do is read Reddit and all the pages that talk about the products and the service they're getting from our dispensary. So I think being informed on the front end about what customers are, what they desire, what they're thinking, what their feedback is, helps create better experiences for us at retail.
How many customers are using the barcode on a receipt or to leave a Google review or to give you feedback? I'm curious, like how many customers are actually.
No, we have had tremendous feedback. Now, the latest one that we've added is actually a kiosk right on the kiosk at the completion of your order. We've popped up a quick 3-question survey that asks for, how did your transaction go? What feedback do you have for us? So we have had thousands over the last year. We've had thousands of responses to the variety of different feedback loops we put in place.
Yeah, I would just add back to what I was saying earlier. You're really running kind of 2 different businesses. One is your e-com business that you're, in a normal retail environment, if people order e-com, they get it delivered to their home, right? But the difference here is they order online, then they have to come to the store to pick it up. So you're kind of running that e-com sort of business and fulfilling that customer, which I think the lion's share of those customers want to get in and out quickly. They want to have sort of, ease of transacting. They don't want to wait for 20 minutes if they ordered ahead. And then you have a different subset that's coming into the store that may be looking for something much more experiential. So I think recognizing that there's two very different processes that you're running there is critical, and then making sure that your team and your store is set up to recognize, hey, there are two different types of customers here, two different customer journeys. And again, if a person's looking for the quick in and out, make sure they get that. If someone's looking for more of the experience, make sure you're giving that to them. But recognize, again, there's two very different tracks of how people are coming in and what they're coming in for.
John at Surfside, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah. When we've run something very similar where we had clients like outside of the cannabis vertical. We used to work with Nordstrom's, and they were interested if it was, is there people going to Prada, Nordstrom's, Old Navy, or is it Nordstrom's, Old Navy, Gap? And so they wanted to know kind of like where not only you have your two purchase paths there, but like, are people going to the gas station and then the grocery store and then the dispensary and then going home? Like, where does it fit in that user's journey? Or is it they go to the liquor store and then the dispensary? Like, how does it fit within that person's demographics and that person's kind of buying profile as well? Like, where is it? Are they buying luxury products? Are they buying, are they spending big basket sizes? This is like a weekend purchase or an everyday purchase. And so those are other elements, because I think you were talking about the different typographics of like do people want to be in and out, or do they want to spend time? Do they want to come in, look around, and enjoy themselves? And so there are so many different ways of going through that. There's also tons of different attributes that you can use to better understand where they are in that journey and who they are as customers, outside of just demographics, and that help you better define who they are from an experience perspective, other purchases they're making outside of cannabis, like other CPG, other entertainment, what they like to do for fun. And this will help you create a better picture of like the whole view of who these customers are, so that you as a business can kind of see where you fit within the entire buying journey rather than just the dispensary journey.
Great. So how about like just general challenges in providing experience to the customer?
Yeah, I think, speaking about e-commerce and in-store, like one of the big things that we've seen over the years is that because you do have a lot of these software platforms, they're all kind of trying to integrate with each other. For people that own, an e-commerce platform, they've acquired it, so it's really two separate systems still. It's really hard to smash platforms together behind the scenes. So there's things in the experience, like as a consumer, you order online and the price is $3 off from what you're going to go pay in the store. And this happens really frequently in our space. These little kind of edge cases that you don't really see in other industries. And so I think it's just, being aware of the partners you're working with and how they all interact, and that you should go take your own consumer journey. Go do an undercover boss in your store. Go be the consumer and check the whole thing and be really maniacal about it. And that's really that whole process from walking in store to ordering online and getting to the express lane. Are the orders being fulfilled quickly? Is it a good experience? Like, you'll know, right? You should go do it yourself. Go be a really hands-on leader at your organization and go check it out yourself. You'll see it firsthand.
Actually, we're running out of time, so let's do a quick outro just to kind of sum everything up. Kyle, do you want to go with a quick outro, and then we'll run down the line? And yeah.
Sure. Well, it was great being here today. But any questions, we've got FlowHub has a booth or whatever, like a meeting room over here. I'm happy to chat with folks. I'm super passionate about cannabis retail. Look, I'm excited to meet a lot of you and talk about your store, your operations, and yeah, thanks for being here today and taking a listen to our little chat up here.
And John?
It's all about the customer. I think that's everything I have to say. It's all about the customer.
Yeah, I would second that, and I would also just say that retail to me is about running the whole playbook effectively. There's no magic bullet in retail. You got to get all the pieces dialed in to really make it work.
I'll finish on data capture, understand your customers, make sure that you're grabbing data from your website, from your e-com, from your point of sale. You're getting as much information, you're unifying that to have a single view of who that customer is, and then have the tools to then activate it for your marketing outreach or just your communication, which is how you put that to use from a sales perspective.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks to Benzinga.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a great day. All right, everyone.